Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei and I'm so excited to paint with you today. Today we are going to be doing another page in our watercolor journals and I get to crack open a brand new watercolor journal. So this is going to be page 1 and I have finally started actually labeling my journals, at least not with dates but with numbers and like the number of videos that I have on them. So this is number 7, journal number 7 in this series, and we're going to be starting out in the 200s for the number of pages. So we've been doing a lot of journaling, folks. All right, I don't want to crack the spine here, but I do want this to be flat. Okay, we are going to do another page. So I am working with a 6x9 watercolor journal. This is Bao Hong brand, so I just happened to buy a whole bunch of these ahead of time. This is the brand here, Bao Hong. Link in the description if you want to find that specific journal, but whatever journal works for you. Mine is about a 6x9 size. It's 100% cotton paper, 140-pound cold press. So that is my favorite texture and weight. And of course, I love 100% cotton paper when I can find it. These journals have it, so that's why I love them. I'm also using my Core, QOR by Golden watercolor paints. I have some brushes over here. I'm going to be working a little tiny today. So I have my size 3 and I'll have my size 12 on hand just in case I need to do some larger washes, which I think I will do a little bit of. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to be doing some doors. I love the look of little cute whimsical doorways. So we're going to do a couple of illustrations of doors here. I am going to start, let's see. Let's clean up this palette. So this other palette over here, the wells in it have like old watercolor paint. I'm pretty sure it's Winsor Newton. I haven't used them in a really long time. But I found this is like the nice size for camera for some extra mixing space. It's not too large. My paper towel there, my little wiper upper paper towel. It's a little too saturated. Okay. So yeah, I just use this for extra mixing space right now. And I use my Core mini palette. I do have a larger palette that I use, also a Core full-size 24 color palette, but to each their own. Whatever you have that works for you, go for it. All right, let me just make sure everything is on camera here. We're going to start, I'm going to do a couple on here. Let's start with, I'm going to start with Phthalo Blue green shade, and I'm going to add lots of water to it so we have a nice light wash. And then I am going to make a door shape. I'm going to do one with a rounded top. So I'm using my size 12 brush just to lay down kind of the basic shape. You can definitely draw this out if you're not comfortable going straight to paint. And especially doing an arched doorway, it can be a little tricky. Mine might not be perfect. But I'm just going to create this shape until it feels good. So I'm going to go a little wider than the actual door because it's going to be framed in the same color, and I'll show you. Perfect. All right, so we're going to let that dry and let's lay down another door. Let's do another color. We want to do green. Do we want to do definitely going to do a wooden one over here. Let's do a red door. I'm still going to go light. All right, so let's do, I'll do this one on this side. I'll do a smaller one. I'm going to do a bigger one in the middle, I think. This one will be square or rectangular, not square. but have a squared off top. And again, I'm going to go a little wider than the actual like opening part of the door because I'm going to create the frame, and the frame is going to be the same color pretty much as the door. We're going to keep it simple. So these are just little door illustrations. I read this great book a while ago, and it's going to take me a moment to remember it. I will tell you at the end, or put a link to it maybe in the description. But it was about this girl who discovered doorways through the universe, and she could travel to all these different universes, kind of like, you know, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe type thing. But she could use doors to get to all different kinds of lands and different worlds, I guess, not just like other places in our world. And I will look it up because I really enjoyed it. It was like her name and something. Okay, so we're gonna let those dry. They're just two shapes, flat shapes. This one is just about dry. So I'm gonna go back to this one, and I'm gonna add a little more of my phthalo blue to make a darker version. And you know what? I'm gonna add a tiny bit of Payne's gray just to make it not as blue, more of a gray blue. It doesn't have to be dramatically darker just yet. And I'm gonna go around the frame of the door. I'm going to go slow so they are parallel, depending on how wonky you want your door. And it looks like it was actually a tiny bit damp still here because my line is not completely solid. Okay, so that's the doorway, and this is the frame. I'm going to go even a little darker with this. And we're going to make this a blue door, but a wooden door. It's going to have planks. So I'm going to start kind of here on the edge. And we're going to come down. We're going to let our brush skip a little bit. It doesn't need to be a perfectly solid line or the perfectly same width the whole way. And I'm going to start in the middle here. I'm going to come up. Here. And one more here. So trying to get them about evenly spaced, but if they're a little off, that's okay because it makes it a little whimsical, little funky door. We're definitely going to have a crack below. That's going to be darker where the door meets the ground, and maybe it's not perfectly straight, it's a little jagged. That is still a little damp in there. All right, and then I'm going to take a little more Payne's gray. Well, that was a lot, but that's okay. I'm going to rinse my brush off. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this. And we're going to darken kind of some of these edges along the top. And along the bottom. You could put like a little knot in your door or two in the wood. And then we also want a handle of some kind. So let's do, I'm going to take a little like brown, let's see, let's make it together. I have some yellow, and I'm going to take a little bit of purple, make like a brownish color. A little more purple. There we go, like a golden brown. And I am going to do this right over the blue. It's going to have a little bit of a green cast to it. It's okay. And make it a little flatter on top, and like now we're at the bottom. And after that dries, I'm going to put a little shadow under it to separate it. So let's put a little wall around our door as well. And you know, I can probably use this green or this yellowish brown color. Let's go back with some more yellow, making a nice little tan. So purple and yellow will give you a brown or a gray, depending. And I'm just going to go around my door, but outward this way, kind of giving it a and then definitely along the edge here. And just dry brush it, let it fade out into nowhere. Okay, so now we have the ground line. And you can put something on the ground in front of it to create a little perspective in front. You can stick with this brown. Oh, we've mixed blue in now. Let's see. We'll stick with the purple yellow motif, but I'm going to go more purple. You know what? I'm going to add a little Payne's gray. Just getting a gray color. And I am going to just make some suggestion of maybe some cobblestones. Not really the best way to do this, because you would want them to have a little bit more perspective, like they would be narrow at the top and come out wider, but I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm actually going to blur these out. Roll my sleeve here. All right, let that dry. And you could always put, like beforehand, if you drawn this out, like maybe a little potted plant or something here. We can let this dry and try to put one of those in. Yeah, let's wait for that to dry. And then we'll come back and work a little more on this. Let's do our pink door, or our red door, which is very pink right now. So let's go a little darker. This red is, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to find my card, which I don't know where I put it, but this is Pyrrol Red Medium in this palette. I don't use this red very often. Let's go with it. We're going to go pretty. I'm actually going to do another layer of this because this door is too pink for me. I want it to be more red. And then we'll go darker from there. So we are going to have to let this dry again. Well, while that dries, let's put some wall next to it. We'll go with this darker color. And you can do like a brick-like pattern or like a stone-like pattern. If you want to do like true stone, they're not going to be much more organic. And you can vary the tone. Just add a little more yellow in there. And then you can go back into the stones after they're dry and add another layer. So let's go back to purple and yellow. Make a little brown. These dried pretty quick, but you can give them some shadow on the edges to make them more three-dimensional. Blend those out. And I left the background completely white. You could do a wash over the background to give it like more of a mortar tone. But basically stones usually have like somewhat of a rounded shape. They're a little thicker in the center of it than where the stone meets the mortar. That's a little bit more in shadow. All right, so let's get back to, is this dry enough? Our red door. So same thing, I'm going to give it it's not quite dry enough yet. Just going to blend that out. All right, while that dries, I'm going to do another door. Stick with me here. This one, I'm going to go with, I think I have a brown in here, which is oxide. This is a burnt umber and transparent brown oxide. So this darker brown, this brown is the transparent brown oxide, and then this should be the burnt umber. Yeah. So any kind of brown that you have, again, you can make your own brown. Magenta and sap green make a beautiful brown when you mix them together if you have those colors. But I'm going to do one little door right here. Oh, hopefully I left myself enough room. I'm going to do like a triangular top. Not super triangular, just a little bit. Like this. Rinse off my brush. I'm going to go lighter. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to do this lighter purple and yellow brown. That's a little more yellow than red. It's more of a yellow tone to it. All right, we are going to do, I do want the brown to be dry. Let's hope it's dry enough. I'm going to go around it like this. And that is actually going to be the darker color. We're going to go lighter then. All right, and that's all. Actually, no, I'm going to do this side as well over here. So this is the wall, but it has like an inset to it. Let that dry. And then we have to let that dry. And then we're going to put greenery around it. Let's do steps in front of it. All right, Payne's gray only for this. Got a little blue in it, that's fine. Okay, so right in front of it, we're going to do, this is the front of the step. And we're going to leave a little white space that's like the suggestion of the top of the step. I hope that makes sense. And then we're going to curve them around as if the steps are coming this way. I wanted to do more, but that'll have to do. Now, we're going to put greenery around them. Just leave them the way they are. You don't need edges and all of this on them, I promise. Okay. Are you dry yet? Let's hope so. All right, let's take red, tiny bit of Payne's gray. Let's give you a frame. Okay. Make this side a little thicker. Create a little shadow over here. And then we'll make this like a panel door. This might be easier to draw out ahead of time, but I'm just going to wing it. There's definitely something up with my paper right here. It's got a little bit of a funky surface to it. So I'm just doing the darkest edge right now of this panels on the door. I'm going to blend this out. Give it a second edge over here. Do two down here. Blend them out. I don't know if this is the type of door you would actually see on the outside of a house. Oh, I picked up way too much Payne's gray. And we're going to give this a nice little crack underneath. Go back up here, darken this a little bit. Give you a little handle. Go with a black handle. It's just a little round knob. Could we put a little slit in there for like a male slit? Sure, why not? We'll pretend. I'll outline that more after it dries. And then you could also put something on the ground in front of it. Actually, this reminds me of a door on an old stone house. And it basically had like a tiny little stone path in front of it. But it was super overgrown. So let's do that. We're just going to take a bunch of green for grass, just sap green. We're going to go between I'm going to take my bigger brush and just get like a baseline of this is sap green with nickel azo yellow, so it's very yellow right now. Just getting that base down, and then we'll take our sap green and we'll add in some darker contrast. And just keep going, keep going, keep going. Make shorter. Some longer, some lighter, some darker. Nice little path. I like this. I'm going to go even darker. Some of it right here. Go on the outside of the frame. And you know what? So if we wanted to show like a cast of light over this, one way to do it at this point would be to basically create a shadow, a wash. Let's use the bigger brush. Let's go a little lighter. But basically, let's see if I'm going to ruin this. So there's like a shadow, something casting a shadow over top of it. And you could even do the same with your stones over here. You still want to be able to see the individual stones, but we could just do a wash over this side. It's darker over here. And our individual stones can even have a little bit. I'm going very quickly here, but just the overall idea. And go super dark here. Again, there's something up with my paper, like right here. I hope it's just this page, because this is a brand new sketchbook, so I hope there's no like weird thing going on with the whole book. We will find out in our subsequent pages. But it's almost like the on this page right here, the sizing on the surface is not quite right. It happens. It happens. Okay, let's go back to our blue door really quick. I'm going to take some of this gray. I know this is probably not helpful for someone who came to this video and was like, I just wanted to paint the blue door and I've skipped all around. And now I'm back to the blue door. There we go. We just put a little shadow on the door handle, and I'm going to do a little bit more dark shadow under and around the edge. Make it a little bit thicker on the one side where the door actually closes. And then let's take a little blue and do a little kind of texturizing dry brush. Maybe not. Doesn't seem to want to. There we go. It's a little more gray than blue, but that's okay too. Giving our wood a little texture there. All right, there is one door. We'll call that one finished. This one, this is the one that I really want to put some greenery around. Let's do that. All right, I'm going to start with some of this yellow, this nickel azo yellow. Maybe add a little sap green to it or a little blue to it. But I really want it to be like a lighter, glowier. And I am just going to start by building this greenery all around it. It's going to overlap a bit. But this door is nestled in an overgrown, magical little something or other. We're going to go down the edge of the stairs here. And basically we're going to create an overgrown pathway here. We're going to put some bushes in there. We're going to put some greenery that's growing right on the steps. So we've put down our base layer. Beautiful. Now I'm going to take some of this blue and mix it with that nickel azo yellow. Now I have this lovely Viridian, like bright Kelly green color. If that is too bright for me, you can add more yellow and go more on the yellow side, but I am actually going to add some of this red over here. So now we have like an olive green here. This one is just a little bit toned down. And I'm going to add these colors into some smaller bits here. I'm not going to completely cover up this overhang. I'm going to make that more of a shadow in a minute. But just dotting them in. This is a loose exercise. So let's creep in onto these steps a little bit. I'm actually going to pick up some Ultramarine. Get more of a gray. I'll put like a big bush right here. Another one growing right here. See if the top's a little lighter. We're going to go super dark. All right, so with these green bushes here, I'm going to take this Payne's Gray and green, make super dark, like olivey green. So the front and bottom of these are in quite a bit of shadow. They're wet on wet there. We're going to let them do their thing. It looks super dark right now, but it creates that depth and that contrast. Okay, let's go back up to here to our little brown door. I'm going to go back to my burnt umber and my brown oxide. And I'm going to outline this. Bring in some wood lines. Now it looks a little too neat at the moment, and then we're going to take this and blend it out. So this part is definitely in shadow under this overhang here. Go. A little darker here. All right, we're getting there. I think we have to go even a little darker up here underneath. Blend this out. We're going to let light hit this side of the door. You know what? I'm going to take a little purple and yellow. These paints are just the purple and yellow, especially the yellow, are more opaque of a paint than the brown oxide. The brown oxide is very granulating. So I just mix a little brown on top of that, and I think it will help just achieve more of a solid foundation that I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to go back in and add a few more details on the wood grain. Let's go back to our lovely green vines and things that are creeping up around. I'm going to go with this darker green color, and I'm going to start putting in some smaller, so I'm back to my size 3 brush. I'm putting in some smaller leaves and some smaller shadowy areas. Again, we're not being super like detailed with the actual shapes of the leaves. I'm just stippling or dotting these in, trying to concentrate the darker parts closer to the door itself and like the underside, or what would be the underside of the foliage, letting the yellowy part on top kind of still do its thing, be a little glowy, a little light is casting out there. That got really dark. So I just rinsed my brush off, and I just have kind of some water on it now, very like damp, not a lot of water, and I'm just having some of these kind of spill out onto the steps. And I'm going to go even darker on some of my steps in the front, like right at the edge here. Give them a little texture. And you could stop here if you really wanted to, if you felt done. I'm going to let this dry a little bit more. And you know what? I'm going to put some more definitive plant shapes right up front here. I'm going to put in like kind of a fern shape. So just flicking, flick, 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 flick. And we'll come this way. Just giving it a little structure. Fern there. I could do another one out here or some more viney pieces. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to go Payne's Gray under the door itself. And I'm going to go back into, I'm going to pull some of that Payne's Gray up into the wood grain like this. And then these parts at the top here, they're in shadow, they need their wood grain darker. Let's go right along the edge. Contrast, contrast, contrast is your friend. There we go. I love our little doors. This one's super, super simple. I feel like I could have done a little bit more with it somehow. Maybe putting a little vine up the side or a potted plant in front, or maybe a little chair or a bench or something like that would have helped this be a little more substantial, but very simple door, little stone, a little shadow, and then this one, a lot going on. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This was kind of a long video, 43, but it was a lot of fun to play with different styles and kind of get more in depth as we go. This door has no handle. It's a mystery door. There's no way to get in. I love it. Don't forget to check out the description for links to supplies and materials. Go ahead and leave a comment, save this for later, share with a friend, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. All right, y'all, take care, and I'll see you for our next watercolor journal page very soon.